Hello guys, welcome to my channel Ratan IT. So today we are going to discuss about a topic, or you can say the subtopic what we have discussed in the last class. As you have remembered, SDLC. We have discussed about SDLC, that is software development life cycle. In the last sessions we have discussed about what are the types of SDLC, what is the advantages of SDLC, what is the disadvantage of SDLC, how it is useful, how we can proceed with it. So about SDLC, today we are going to discuss a subtopic of SDLC, that is nothing but by waterfall model. So guys, let me discuss, or let me introduce you to the waterfall model. What is waterfall model? What is the necessity of waterfall model? In the interview, still there are many companies they are using waterfall model, and in the interviews also they are asking questions, some kind of very tricky questions on waterfall model. What is a waterfall model? Guys, always remember waterfall model. So let me make you points. So I will dictate, I will write the notes in point wise, so you can note it down, so that it is better for you, so that you cannot watch the video again and again and you can learn a lot. So what do you mean by waterfall model? Waterfall model was the first process model to be introduced. Remember, this is the first process model to be introduced. So when I'm saying this is the first process model to be introduced, so when I'm saying this is the first process model to be introduced, process model to be introduced means is this is the first model which came to the software industry for the betterment of the software industry to run a particular application in a software. Clear? Then it is also known as the linear sequential life cycle. It is also known as linear sequential life cycle. So my first question is why it is known as a linear. Linear, what do you mean by linear? Then what do you mean by sequential, and what do you mean by a life cycle? So guys, one thing over here, when I'm talking about linear, here linear in the sense straight, right? Straight means it would be go straight, parallel, you can say. A linear means a straight, uniform. So waterfall model is a uniform model. What is a waterfall model? Waterfall model is a uniform model. Waterfall model is a uniform model. Great. Then what do you mean by sequential? Next thing is, what do you mean by sequential? Sequential means step by step. Sequential means step by step. Step by step process. One, two, three, four. Then this stage will come. Then this stage will come. Then this stage will come. Like this. Uniform. Then this linear means uniform. It will be uniform. And sequential means step by step. Okay. What do you mean by life cycle? Life cycle of who? Me, mine, or yours, or somebody else? No. It is meant by the life cycle of an application, or you can say what we are studying, you can say it is the life cycle of a software. Life cycle of a software. Clear? So linear sequential life cycle means it's a uniform step-by-step process life cycle of an application, or it is known as the life cycle of a software. Clear? So these are the basic few things about your waterfall model. Then it is a very simple to understand and it is very easy to use. Always remember, it is very simple. As I told you, this is the first basic model which has been proposed for the application, for the development of the software. Okay, this is a linear sequential life cycle. Uniform, this is very much uniform. It is a step-by-step process, and life cycle of it tells about the life cycle of an application. It tells about the life cycle of a software. Clear? Then next thing is, in a waterfall model, each phase must be completed before the life begins. So prior to explaining or go more depth about the waterfall model, let me show you what a waterfall model is. Let me open my paint so that I can show you. So I told you, right, in a kind of in SDLC, what is the first phase in SDLC? What is the first phase, or what will be the first phase? Always it will start with a requirement phase, right? Correct. Requirement analysis. Requirement analysis. It will always start with a requirement analysis. So what will happen after requirement analysis? So let me draw this figure for you guys. So after requirement analysis came into the picture, it will be after requirement analysis. What is the second phase that we have discussed? That is system design. Okay, great. After requirement analysis came, it is the system design. What will comes after the system design is, yes, I hope you guys know that after system design it will be your implementation. Great. After system design it will be your implementation, means what you are implementing from here. So after system design it will be your implementation. What will happen after implementation? What is this? We have discussed these things, right? What will comes after implementation? So after implementation, the things which comes is, that is, great. Yes, correct. That is testing. That is testing. What comes after testing? After testing, it comes is your deployment. After testing comes is your deployment. Deployment. Okay, guys. So this is the thing. So first is requirement analysis, then system design, then implementation, then testing, then deployment. So after deployment, you can say that after the code is finished, it will be your. So this after deployment, we come into your maintenance, or people say it as a feedback. Based upon the feedback, again it will go to this particular system. Okay. So this is the basic architecture of your waterfall model. Great. So we had discussed, this is the first model to be introduced. This is the linear sequential life cycle. This is very much uniform. It's a step-by-step process. And the life cycle of an application. This is talking about the life cycle of a software. Great. Now, remember one thing, guys, over here in waterfall model, each phase must be completed before the next phase can begin, and there is no overlapping of phases. Great. You are getting my point, right? What we have seen over here is, once this step will completed, then this step will come. Once this step will completed, then this step will come. Once this step will completed, then this step will come. When this step will completed, then this will come. So there will be no overlapping of these steps over other steps. So this will be a sequential, one by one, process by process matters. Correct. Then the waterfall model is the earliest SDLC approach that was used to be for the software development. So remember, it is the earliest SDLC model which is used for the, or you can say it is the earliest SDLC model which has been used for the software development. Software software development, correct? So it is the earliest SDLC model which has been used for the software development. The waterfall model illustrates the software development process in a linear sequential flow, what we have discussed over here. So this is the linear sequential flow, means one after another, step by step process after one by one. This means that any phase into the development process begins only if the previous phase is complete. In this waterfall model, the phases do not overlap. Clear, guys? So I hope it is clear. So when I'm talking about this waterfall model, so let me begin with this one. First we have a requirement analysis. So requirement analysis means, what do you mean by requirement analysis? So what is going to happen in this case? What do you think, guys? What can happen in this case? What do you mean by requirement analysis? So the first phase is requirement analysis. What do you mean by requirement analysis? Remember here, all possible requirements of the system to be developed and captured in this phase, and documentation is required for a specification. Clear? So when I'm talking as a requirement analysis, first of all, remember one thing here, or you can say in this phase, all the requirements are to be, all the requirements are to be gathered. So first of all, remember all the requirements has to be gathered. Now, who will gather the requirement? From when? From requirements will come. Requirements will come from the stakeholders. Stakeholders or clients. Stakeholder requirements will come from whom? Requirements will come from the stakeholders or clients. Now, here I am talking about requirement analysis means what do you mean by requirement analysis? First of all, the thing is that the requirement of a particular feature or the requirement of a particular application will come from someone. Who is someone? Here, someone is nothing but your clients or stakeholders. Clear? So from them requirement has came into the picture. Great. Now what will happen? Now the thing is that after requirement came into the picture, the so first of all what happens is requirement came into the picture. Great. Now after requirement came, the requirements, now somebody should have analyzed the requirement. Here I told you analysis, right? Somebody has to make an analysis, correct? Who will do the analysis? The requirements to be analyzed, sorry guys, requirements to be requirement to be analyzed by the product owner. You can say product owner, or you can say this as a business analyst. You can say business analyst, or you can say like functional consultant FC. So functional consultant, product owner, or business analyst. So these are the things. So particular from this one, the requirements will be analyzed. Now, when I'm saying the requirements to be analyzed, what do you mean by the business to be analyzed or the requirements to be analyzed? Here I am saying the requirements to be analyzed means, suppose let's say you're working for, you have made a calculator. What you have made? A calculator. And that calculator has, let's say the functionalities present in the calculator is addition, multiplication, subtraction, and let's say division. So these are the basic functionality is present in your calculator what you have made till date. Clear? Now next requirement came to your company, that your client will say that okay, what the software you have made or whatever the application you have made, that is really very great and that is really working very fine for us. We need more specifications, we need more requirements. What do you need? We need, let's say, a cos theta, or you can say sin theta or tan theta. Can you please implement this in your calculator? So this is as a requirement, it will come from the client side, okay, or from the market they will gather. Then the function of a product owner or a business analyst or a functional consultant is they will look into it. Okay, what we need to make a cos theta, sin theta, tan theta, these features to implement into the calculator. The basic thing is we need to implement the logic, or we need to implement the based upon the logic what can be the things should be done, what can be the logic, what is the necessary of that logic. Clear? So those logics should be implemented or should be borrowed by the business analyst, from the business analyst or the product owner to the team. Getting my point? That is known as a requirement analysis. So clear guys, I hope it is you're getting it clear, right? It's from the business analyst, all the requirements, suppose I'm talking about any kind of requirement. So this kind of requirements will come to your, from the business analyst to the team when they are talking about a particular feature, what any kind of new feature when it will have to come, or any new feature what it has came from the business analyst or this kind of things to the client. Great. Now Next thing about and remember one important thing about this one is all the possible requirements of the system, which let me write this statement for you. Can say all the possible requirements, in short, all the possible requirements of the system, all the possible requirements of the system to be developed, what needed to be developed, are captured in this phase and 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 documented in a specification required specification documents. Clear is all the possible requirements of this system to be developed and captured in this phase and a document of this particular specifications. Clear? So this is all about your requirement analysis. Clear? Who will do the requirement analysis, from whom it will come, who need to take care of this one? It's clear, right? Next. Next thing is, after requirement analysis, what is our next phase? Let's see. So after requirement analysis, we have a system design. We have a system design. So what do you mean by a system design? System design means, okay, now great. What do you mean by system design? Let's say I will here the client will say that I need a particular calculator. Let's say nothing has been made. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, nothing has been made, or neither of these things, nothing has been made. Client will say that I need a calculator. Now, before the calculator is being made, somebody has to set up the tools, right? Let's say you are working for some company, xyz any company, requirement will come to you that I need particular this function. Let's say the function, the feature is a calculator feature. So it is necessary that it is the necessary of someone's necessary that first of all they should set a design. Set a design means a architecture to be set. What? An architecture to be set. Now, when I'm saying architecture of whom to be set? First of all, the thing is that a requirement came, okay, I need to make a calculator. Now, what will be the specifications requirement? Those things will be given by the product owner. Great. Now somebody need to decide that, okay, for this particular system, I need to make a particular framework should be work. Particular framework. I need to work with a particular framework. Maybe Hibernate framework, maybe Spring framework, or maybe a different framework. And framework to be set. A framework to be set. First, architecture has been set, then a framework has been set. Now, then they are going to select a particular programming language, that it should be better work with Java or Python, or UI you are working with some kind of AngularJS, Angular 2, .NET or C#. What particular framework they should use or what particular programming language they should use? My question is, so you are getting that system design means a tool to be set. So a architecture to be set, a framework to be set, a tool to be set. Now my question is, who is going to set this thing? You're getting my point, is right? Who are going to set this particular thing? Who? It is the job of an software architect of the particular company. It is the job of a software architect. The job of a software architect of that particular company. It is his work to do all the above features. Clear? So it is the job of a software architect to do the all features. The system design. Clear? Let me take you. Let me write a single sentence so that everything will cover in that. Now, the requirement The requirement means the requirement which came from your stakeholders and the clients. The requirements, or you can say the requirement specifications, the requirement specification from first phase to be studied. Somebody has to study this, right? So it to be studied, because who will study? Obviously your architect, software architect study this. The requirement specification from the first phase to be studied in this phase of the system design, or in this phase, and the system design is prepared. Yes, this is a nice, is to be prepared. Getting my point? It should be studied from this that phase and to be prepared. Next, or I should write like this. This system design, this system design helps in this system design helps in specifying, what specifies? Specifying hardware and system requirements, system specifying hardware and system requirements, and helps in defining the overall architecture, and helps in defining the overall architecture. Clear? I told you, right? So this will define the specifying the hardware system requirements, what are the resources you have, what kind of architecture to be set, what kind of framework to be set, what kind of tools you are going to use. This everything will be set by a software architect. Clear? Or a senior software architect of your particular company. It should be set. Clear? I hope it is clear. So after requirement analysis, it comes with system design. So after system design, it comes with the implementation. Let's see the third one, implementation. So when I'm saying implementation, what do you mean by implementation? What do you mean by, yes, correct. What do you mean by implementation? Implementation means where the particular coding has been done, that is known as implementation. Are you getting my point, guys? Coding has been completed. When the coding, implementation is nothing but coding. Implementation means basically the coding. Number two, who will do the coding? A developer. Developer will do the coding. Basically, what do you mean by implementation? Implementation here suggests what has been suggested by a system architect. What has been suggested by a system architect? What it has been made. You're getting my point? So this is known as a implementation. Clear? Now, so you can write a statement like this. You can write a statement like this: with the inputs from system design, the system is first developed. With the inputs from system design, the system is first developed in small programs, is to be developed into the small programs, because obviously, right? Okay, let me first complete the statement, then I can explain you much better. Small programs called units. It should be divided into small programs called units, which are integrated in the next phase. Now guys, when I'm saying here, now, okay, now you are saying that with the inputs from the system design. What do you mean by the inputs from the system design? Means which architecture, Yes, with architecture to be set, which framework to be set, or which tool to be set, how it can be set, everything should be done by the coder. Means always the coding. Now, with the inputs from the system design, the system has first to be developed into small units. Let's say here I will say that I need to make a calculator. I cannot directly write the code of a calculator, right? What I need to do is that first of all, I need to make the application of an addition. Let's say int a you have for Java, int a you have taken. Let's say if you are working for okay, let's say you are working with Java. Okay, so how will you write? You will write int x, then you will write something known as int y, then you will write that int z, then you will write a method like you will write a method as in public static void. Inside the public static void, you will inside the public static void in the public static void, you will write like this. You will give two separate commas. Here you will write that int z equals to x x plus y and simple clear. Or you can write here it's an integer type. Now, if once you write it's an integer type, you need to return something. Correct? I'm returning. Let's say I'm returning what I'm returning. I'm returning z. Clear? This is the function you have wrote for addition. Clear? Here you have wrote a particular for addition public static int this one you have been wrote. Now thing is that you can start writing the code of a calculator, right? So these are the small codes. This is the small as a unit you need to write the code. After you write the code in the form of a small unit and you integrate this one. See, you're writing in small units, right? And you integrate the phase. You write the code of a particular, say let's say you are writing the code of a, what is this, you are writing the code of addition, then you will write the code of a subtraction. So how to write the code of a subtraction or something like that? How can you write? Let's say then you will write for the subtraction. Here let's say I will write minus. Here you have done subtraction. Then you will write the code of a, let's say you are writing the code of a multiplication. Here you will write multiply. Let's say here we will write multiply. Then you will write the code of a, let's say division. Suppose let's say you are writing the code of a division. Let's say this is the type of codes you are writing over here. Clear? So these are the types of code you are writing over here. Clear? Now these are the small units of code you have been written. After writing these small units of code, you are integrating with each other. Means you are integrating one after another, one after another, one after another. You are integrating it. Once you are integrating these codes, what will happen? Then you are combining each and everything. Then your code will start working. Are you getting my point, guys? So the thing is that how it is going to work with is first is go with the requirement analysis, system design, and then implementation, then testing and deployment. So let me go with the brief ones. So we're talking about SDLC waterfall model, first process model to be introduced. Then it's a linear sequential life cycle, which is what do you mean by linear? Linear means it will be uniform. Sequential means step-by-step process, and life cycle means life cycle of the application of the software we are going to design. Now, it is the earliest SDLC model which is used for the software development. Then, talking about the first phase is requirement analysis, as we have seen what the figure I draw over here. First phase is requirement analysis. What is requirement analysis? Here, in this phase, all the requirements are to be gathered. Clear? Next. Requirements will come from the stakeholders or the clients. Then, the requirement analyzed by the product owner, business analyst, functional consultant. Clear? Next. All the possible requirements of the system to be developed and captured in this phase and documented in the requirement specification documents. Clear? Next, the system design. Talking about the system design, an architect to be set, a framework to be set, and a tool to be set. Clear? Then, the software architect to do all the above features. Next, the requirement specification from the first phase to be studied into this phase, and then it will be taken. Next, implementation means obviously it will be coding. Who will do the coding? The developer. With all the inputs of the system design, the first it will develop a small unit and then they will go with big phase. Now, this each unit is developed and tested for its functionality, which is referred as unit testing. Testing wise, we'll go with afterwards. So this is the thing it's happening. Clear, guys? So we'll continue in the next sessions. So yeah, thank you.